I'm Jason UFC, and today we have a story about UFC number one welterweight contender Colby Covington slams Garry for turning off comments on his social media pages after inciting beef with several UFC fighters. Colby Covington has not had anything nice to say about Garry heading into UFC 296. The UFC 296 will see Covington main event in his latest bid to become undisputed UFC welterweight champion, this time against Leon Rocky Edwards. Garry, meanwhile, is also booked for UFC 296 opposite Vicente Luque. In recent weeks, Garry's personal life and his wife have become the subject of the MMA community. Garry has been widely mocked for working with his wife's ex-husband and for taking her last name, among other things. The general backlash has prompted Garry to mute comments on his social media pages. Garry has quickly garnered a reputation for his brutal personal attacks against other opponents, namely Neil Magny and Jeff Neal, with some citing his decision to mute comments as hypocritical because of his past attacks against Neil Magny and Jeff Neal. Never one to sidestep making things personal, Covington has recently added to the fire as well. This is what Colby said about Garry. The guy's a blank joke. Right, I can't curse because of the YouTube algorithm. You know that. During a recent interview with All Out Fighting, Colby Chaos Covington was asked if he had anything in store for Garry at the upcoming UFC 296 press conference. Covington took the opportunity to roast Garry for disabling comments on his social media profiles before dismissing him as a joke. Chaos Covington revealed that his attention right now is solely focused on Leon Edwards. I mean, as it should be. This is what Chaos Covington had to say. All I'll say about Ian is if you step in shoes, Junior, you better wipe that stuff off. Hold on, let me say that one more time. All I say about Ian is if you step in shoes, Junior, you better wipe that stuff off. I've had death threats, bombings, people wanted to kill me after Brazil. I never turned off my social media. I never turned off my comments. Look at that little Garry's. He's turning off his comments like a little sensitive soy boy. Oh my goodness, wow. You know, he ain't he ain't the biggest and baddest fighter in the division. The guy's a effing joke. He's a little effing kid, so I don't really have anything to say to him. You'll see at the press conference, but my business and my attention is focused towards Leon Scott, Rocky Edwards, and that's all I care about right now. Okay, that's interesting. So yeah, he didn't go too deep into Garry taking like shots at him. He didn't say anything about his wife. You know, like you said, I thought he was gonna take a very easy shot at his wife. And you know, obviously we know what Colby Chaos Covington is going to say about Garry. Like we already know, right? I'm not gonna get into that on this page because I am an MMA casual, and I am not following what's going on with Garry's wife. I've heard stories. I do not care. But yeah, I mean, the press conference is going to be good. UFC 296. My favorite UFC division is the welterweight division. I feel like that division is the most stacked at the moment. If you look at like from like 1 to 10, almost all of them could at least fight for a championship. You know, Bilal Muhammad, Shakar Rakhmonov, Vicente Luque, Wonder Boy, Kamar Usman, Chimaev, Covington, Leon Edwards, right? Like the welterweight division, in my opinion, is stocked up pretty well, right? I'm looking forward to UFC 296, Shakar Rakhmonov versus Wonder Boy Thompson. Probably not going to get too much back and forth trash talk between those two. Vicente Luque and Garry, you know, I think they may have trained together sometimes or something like that. Obviously Garry's going to be talking stuff. And then, obviously, the main event, Colby Chaos Covington versus Leon Edwards. There's going to be a lot of trash talk there. Leon Edwards defeated Kamaru Usman. Colby Covington lost to Kamaru Usman twice, right? So, obviously, those two are going to be going back and forth. Leon Edwards is already talking about, after he defeats Colby Covington, he's calling out the middleweight champion, right? So, who knows what's going on there? I don't know if Bilal Muhammad is a backup fighter for this card. The UFC, I don't know if, I'm a casual, so I don't know if they always announce it ahead of time, because Colby Chaos Covington, he was like a random late show up that no one knew he was the backup fighter. So I don't know if the UFC always announces who's the backup fighter for this card, but with a lot of welterweights on the card, I don't know if they even have a backup fighter. Is Bilal Muhammad the backup fighter for this card? What's happening with Kamaru Usman? Is he, if Colby Covington wins, does Kamaru Usman come back to the welterweight division, looking at a fight versus Colby? There's a lot going on. Also, Colby, you have Leon Edwards talking about going up to the middleweight division to fight that champion up there. And then you have Colby Chaos Covington saying that he wants to fight Islam Makhachev, right? So, 2024 is going to be completely mad, but a great card to end UFC 2023, UFC 296 here in Las Vegas next weekend, and it should be lit. But let me know your opinion of this story. Like I said, I do not care anything about Ian Garry and his wife, but it's Colby Chaos Covington talking about some of the negative comments he has received on his social media, and why he never turned off comments, because, if you're in the kitchen, you got to be able to stand the heat. I don't know if that's the term, or get out of the kitchen if you can't stand the heat or something like that. But, if you are about that life, be about that life is what Colby Chaos Covington's saying. If you're going to go out there and make statements, if you're going to take shots at other fighters, if you're going to talk about other fighters' kids, right, then you can't get mad when other people start talking about your kids and your personal life, right? That's why I keep out of it, and I don't talk about people's kids or personal life. But let me know your opinion of this story. Who do you think is going to win these fights, right? I don't really care, what people have to say about his wife or his son or his marriage. I could care less. Who's going to win these fights? Vicente Luque versus... who is he fighting? Vicente Luque versus Ian Garry, and Colby Covington versus Leon Edwards, right? I'm going with Vicente Luque, and I'm going to go with Chaos Covington. Let's go. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the $1 donation button, and please tune in to the next video on this channel. Thanks a million for watching.